Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Fanboys and Common Sense. Today I have a countdown of my favorite, from my least favorite to my favorite Harry Potter books and movies. I just finished the series for the first time. Yes, I'm very late to the game. Don't care. I finished it, so let's count them down. Got everything written down in this fancy little Marvel notebook. Um, so let's see. Least favorite to favorite. Oh, the Cursed Child. Why? Just why? It doesn't even make sense at all in any way, shape, or form. I'm not going to go too in depth with this one, and I'm just going to say that I loathe this book. It's absolute garbage. Garbage. I don't even know why she thought it was a good idea to give them the go ahead. I was about 10 pages into it. I'm like, yeah, this is not a Rowling book. So, other than that, let's move on. Um, Next, Order of the Phoenix. The book itself isn't bad. It's just really, really big and cluttered and kind of slow. Actually, really slow. Not to say it's a bad book. I really enjoyed it. It's just not my favorite. Also, shout out to my friends Peter and Maggie Martinescu who lent me the book. If you guys like watching well made videos despite the content, go check out Divine Creations by Maggie. Thank you, Maggie. Thank you, Peter. Um, so, moving on. Um, let's see, what happened here? Chamber of Secrets. Before you start hating on me, I like the Chamber of Secrets. It's a good book. Well, yeah, I mean, it's a good book, but there's just some really, really slow scenes in there that took forever to actually get interesting. Um, I will say the one thing I enjoyed about the movie was Kenneth Branagh's performance as Lockhart. He was absolutely hilarious. Um, I wouldn't say that he's like the best part of the movie, but he's pretty darn close. But I'll get to the movies later. Next one, Prisoner of Azkaban. Again, not a bad book. Just kind of took some getting used to, and it was kind of a slow start. Really, kind of slow in several points. In several points of the series. So it's kind of a hard book to read through if you're looking for a really quick paced action book, but you should read it anyway if you haven't, which I can't imagine that most of you haven't, because these are ridiculously popular books. Um, and I have a tie. Yes, I can do ties because this is my channel and my rules. So, tied, Sorcerer's Stone and the Half-Blood Prince. Sorcerer's Stone and the Half-Blood Prince are tied because, well, they're kind of similar in a lot of ways. Uh, where the Sorcerer's Stone is kind of, let's put it this way, very slow until like the last 6 chapters. Um, and then it gets really interesting. Half Blood Prince is interesting pretty much the entire way through the book, but there are several slow points the in the book that I just like, oh my gosh, get through this already. Not to say that it's bad because it's absolutely great. Um, so moving on to my top two choices, I will give you 5 seconds to actually guess which one you think it is. Okay, that wasn't exactly 5 seconds, but I don't care. So, taking the runner up is The Deathly Hallows. Now, I know most of you are going to want to kill me for this because it's The Deathly Hallows, it's the finale, it's the best one out of all of them. Yes and no, in my opinion. It's only beaten by Goblet of Fire, and here's why Goblet of Fire beats it. because Goblet of Fire is a horror flick. It's a horror book. The entire the entire book, you're just waiting for something or someone to jump out of nowhere. It's fantastic. It scared me several times because I'm just like, oh my gosh, what is going to happen? This is so suspenseful. So I wasn't actually scared, but it's kind of like A Quiet Place where you're just in such suspense. It's almost terrible. Um, now let me go on with the movies for a second. Order of the Phoenix is my least favorite. I think you'll hear most people say that because oh my gosh, Umbridge. Yes, she's supposed to be annoying, but guess what? She's a saint in the movie compared to the books. She's an absolute saint. Um, then my next favorite movie from the Order of the Phoenix is Chamber of Secrets. Really good, really fun. Basically for all the same reasons that I said earlier with Lockhart and Kenneth Branagh's performance. Then, well, I don't know. I might swap Prisoner of Azkaban and Chamber of Secrets just because there's so many plot holes, like the Marauders, which you'll also hear people talk about. So those two can swap anytime, really. It just depends on the mood I'm in. And uh, then kind of a tie is Deathly Hallows Part 1 and The Sorcerer's Stone, because they're both kind of slow in the beginning, but they're still really good. And then you have, I would say Goblet of Fire is my third favorite film, and then I would say Deathly Hallows Part 2, and then my favorite movie is actually The Half-Blood Prince. I'm probably going to get a lot of flack for that if more than one person watches this, but those are my that's how I rank them. Let's get into some of my issues with each of them. Peeves should have been in the films. Like, he really should have been in the films. There's almost no reason for him to have been left on the cutting room floor, but what are you going to do? Umbridge, like I said earlier, is a saint in the movie. Dumbledore, I would say he was obnoxious in the third movie and the fourth movie. And then the fifth and sixth, he was absolutely great. First two movies, he was absolutely great. Played by two different actors, which sad, but what are you gonna do about it? The Marauders, I feel like that should have been a definite part of the movies. Neville. I like Neville. I don't understand why Neville gets so much flack from everyone. They're like, oh, he's such a wimp, he's such a wimp. No, he's not a wimp. The fifth book, he's the best one in Dumbledore's army. He's the one that makes the most progress. By the way, sorry about the lighting. I'm just noticing the screen going dark, so sometimes it's kind of late and it's winter, so it's really dark and overcast right now. So sorry about the light, but can't help it. Anyway, back to Neville. Best one in Dumbledore's army. He's the bravest one out of the bunch. When you reach the climax of the book, he's the one that tries to help Harry throughout the entire ending fight between Dumbledore's army and the Death Eaters. Lost the word for a second. In the movies, he's just kind of wimpy, which is another reason that they should not have gotten rid of Dobby, because they didn't really do anything with Neville, even though they replaced all of Dobby's achievements with Neville. So it was kind of ridiculous to do that. No pun intended, if you understand that spell. Let's see. Dobby, already mentioned, he should have been in all of the movies. I don't really feel like many movie watchers, I don't feel like they got to know Dobby very much. My brother was just like, yeah, Dobby dies, it's sad. I'm like, no, it's heartbreaking. I actually had to close the book and put it away because the pages were getting wet from my tears. I don't cry at all ever, so you know that if I'm crying in a book, it definitely got me, along with Fred's death and Remus and Tonks. Those two were heartbreaking, but I'm not going to spoil anything anymore. Winky should have been in there, definitely. The Creevies, I feel, didn't get enough. You meet Colin Creevey in the second movie, and then he kind of just disappears. So it's not really, you didn't really feel like you knew the character that well if you just watched the movies. Kind of the same with Justin Finch Fletchley, who I really feel should have gotten more spotlight, but whatever. And then Wormtail's death. I was so excited for this scene when I actually watched the movie. And then I was so disappointed when he just gets knocked out with a spell. Why? Why did they have to do that? It was such a cool and morbid but likable scene in the book when that happens. He really should have killed himself like he does in the book. I mean, it's kind of like a combination of Voldemort's weird hand doing it, but like Wormtail's, kind of under Wormtail's instruction almost, because of what Dumbledore actually mentions in The Prisoner of Azkaban. He should have killed himself. That would have been much cooler. But anyway, this video is about 13 minutes, so I'm going to cut the video right now. So hope you enjoyed it. If you like what you see, subscribe, hit the like button, and there will be more videos coming out like this in the future. Once again, thank you to Peter and Maggie Martinescu. Go check out Maggie's channel, Divine Creations by Maggie. And yeah, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.